Hello, it is not every day that I have a webcam on, but this is a very spontaneous video, so I figured why not. So as you can see, I am on Roll20, and the reason for that is that I just saw an advertisement somewhere for Call of Cthulhu Starter Set Alone Against the Flames, a solo introductory adventure. Now, I have never played Call of Cthulhu. I have played D&D, I've played a very tiny bit of Pathfinder, and I've played Genesis, more role-playing based driven narrative system. But I've never played Call of Cthulhu, but it has always been one sort of on the verge of my sphere of interests. So, well, I figure I might need to move myself. We'll get that once we are in the game. So let's see what this is. I have no idea. Okay. Core rule book. And obviously we got nothing in the chat right now. Don't need to leave feedback. Journal. Start here. Roll20 information. Don't think I need that. It was free, by the way, so it's not like I bought this. Overview of the game. That might be important. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's a bit of a... Okay, there's a bit of reading here. Overview of the game. The aim of playing Call of Cthulhu is to have fun with your friends as you explore and create a story of mystery and horror. One player takes the role of game moderator, also known as the Keeper of Arcane Lore, Keeper for short. Their role within the rules is to run the game for the rest of the players, who take the parts of intrepid investigators of the unknown, or investigators, the heroes of the story, attempting to seek out, understand, and eventually confront the horrors, mysteries, and secrets of the Cthulhu mythos. Okay, but I don't have friends ready to play this, so... Well, that's, I suppose that is sort of the base idea for the game, that you play with your friends. Okay. As you are the person reading this book, we will assume that you are going to take on the role of the keeper for the first few games you play. Oh, so that's probably an exempt from like the core rule book, or equal to the Dungeon Master's Guide for D&D. The keeper picks a story to run. These stories are known as adventures or scenarios. You will play through a special solo adventure, Alone Against the Flames, to introduce the game to you, but you will also find some starter scenarios in Book 3, which I don't know what is. Is that out here? Maybe? I literally don't know. I mean, I know the base setting for Call of Cthulhu, like 1920s-ish setting, at least time-wise, and I also know that it's largely based around the Cthulhu mythos, though there are outliers and stuff like that. But I literally don't know anything about any of the scenarios. A scenario provides the keeper with the structure of a story to present... Sorry, I got a little distracted. Should probably turn my phone off to silent just in case. There we go. Where was I? A scenario provides the keeper with the structure of a story to present to the players. The keeper's role is a little like that of a director making a movie, in which the actors don't know how the story will develop. The players are like actors who have the freedom to improvise their own scripts and actions within that movie or game. The investigators need not be anything at all like the people who play them. Indeed, it is often more rewarding and enjoyable for players to create characters entirely unlike themselves, such as tough private eyes, wisecracking journalists, or learned academics. Most of the play is verbal exchange. I wonder how that's going to play out as a solo adventure then. The keeper sets the scene, describing the environment, the individuals, and encounters to the players. The players tell the keeper what they intend their investigators to do. The keeper then tells them whether they can do it, and, if not, what happens instead. In play, the game takes the form of a group conversation, with many twists and turns and fun along the way. The game rules use dice to determine if an action succeeds or fails when a dramatic conflict presents itself. For example, whether the investigators are able to leap out of the way of a giant statue about to crash down upon their heads. The rules in Book 2 describe how to decide the outcome of such conflicts. Winners and losers. In Call of Cthulhu, there are no winners and loser in the standard competitive sense. Play is cooperative. The participants work together to attain a common goal, usually to discover and foil a nefarious plot being perpetrated by the minions of a dark cult or a secret society. The opposition that the investigators face can often be an alien or hostile situation controlled by an impartial keeper, not another player. The keeper takes on the roles of all the supporting characters and monsters in the adventure, while the players each just play one role, that of their investigator. Winning in such a situation depends on whether the investigators succeed in their goal, and losing is what happens if they fail to achieve it. They may be able to try again later. During the game, investigators may become injured, suffer sanity-shattering experience, or even die. However, someone has to make a stand against the cosmic horrors of the Cthulhu mythos, and the death of a single investigator matters little if it means repulsing Cthulhu's master plan to enslave the Earth. Investigators who survive gain knowledge of horrendous monsters and power from arcane volumes of forgotten lore, and advancement in their skills as they become more experienced. Thus the player's investigators will continue to progress until their demise or retirement, whichever comes first. Never played a role-playing game before. Well, I have. Just, not this one. If you've never played a role-playing game before, you may be wondering what this is all about. To set you on the right track, it may be useful to describe an average session of play. Of course, that's just an example. The number of players and the duration of a session of play will vary from group to group. The main thing to understand is that the game takes place in the group's shared imagination. The keeper directs the story and plot, with the players reacting to the scenes the keeper portrays while also helping to shape the narrative of the game. An example of play. John, his partner, and two friends meet up at John's house on Friday evening at around 7 o'clock. After catching up on the week's news and organizing some drinks and nibbles, they sit down in John's lounge and John hands out some paper and pencils, then talks everyone through creating their investigators. People compare ideas for characters as they roll dice and fill out their investigator sheets. It's now about 8 o'clock. Okay, so that sounds like character creation is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Like if it takes less than an hour. John kicks off the game by describing the opening scene from the adventure he has chosen for the group, telling how the investigators find themselves talking with a man who wants them to check out an old property he owns. Rumor has it might be haunted. One of the players immediately responds to this, putting on the voice of her investigator to say that such things are complete hokum. As the story unfolds, everyone becomes involved, describing what their characters are doing or saying. Some of the players, that was a mixture between characters and players, some of the players, where were we? Some of the players decide to speak in the manner of their characters, such as with a New York accent, while others prefer not to act out their characters and just speak normally. Dramatic conflicts arise and dice are rolled to determine the outcome. Sometimes the players get their way, at other times events appear to conspire against them. It is all played out simply by talking and rolling some dice to determine the outcome of certain situations. People aren't getting out of their chairs to act it out, neither are they donning costumes. I mean, you can if you want, that's kind of optional, but, I mean, cool, but unless you have 1920s clothes sitting around, it's... John and his players cease play at around 10:30, then chat for a while after calling it a night at around 11 o'clock. So they have a roughly 3.5 hour session. Okay, that would be a little short for a D&D session. Maybe a short one-shot could be like 2 hours. I think that's the shortest I've been with, and that was with fully created characters, and basically like you open the door and combat starts. So, yeah. John and his players. Okay. Role-playing dice. The keeper and players use a set of role-playing dice in the game. These polyhedral dice include percentage dice, D100, a 4-sided dice, D4, a 6-sided die, D6, an 8-sided die, D8, and a 20-sided die, D20. A set is included in this box. Imaginary box. The letter... Oops, nope. Although players often like to have their own set of dice, which can be purchased at most hobby game stores and online. I certainly don't have dice for that, no. I do. I got plenty. It's kind of surprising that they don't use a D12. Alright. Well, I suppose it will be explained. Let's see. The letter D stands for dice. The number after the D is the range of numbers available. 1d8 generates random numbers 1 through 8, for instance, while 1d100 generates the numbers 1 to 100. In an adventure, the text will call for different dice rolls using the terminology above. So, if the text says a monster delivers 1d8 damage, then roll the 8-sided die once to determine how much damage is actually caused. Reading D100. Percentage dice usually consists of 2 10-sided dice, which are rolled at the same time. One die, units, is numbered 1 to 0. The other, tens, being numbered 10 to 00. Both dice are rolled and should be read together. For example, 30 on the tens die, and 05 on the units die is read as 35%. A roll of 0, tens dice, combined with a 0, units dice, indicates a result of 100. A roll of 00 on the tens die, combined with any of the other roll on the units die, indicates a roll of under 10%, for example. A roll of 00 on the tens die and 3 on the units die is read as 3%. Okay, yeah, I know this. That's the same as in D&D. I mean, it's not used as often in D&D, sadly, because I'm a type of person that likes rolling dice, so yeah. Dice roll variations. Sometimes a dice notation is preceded by a number other than 1. This means that more than one such die should be rolled, and their results should be added together. For instance, 2d6 means that 2 6-sided dice are rolled and totaled, or roll a d6 twice and add the scores together. You might also see 1d6 plus 1, for instance. This means that the number following the plus sign should be added to the result of the d6 roll. For 1d6 plus 1, the result must be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. If a monster claws for 1d6 plus 1 plus 2d4 damage, Find the power of the actual attack by rolling the 2 requested die, totaling the results and adding 1, rolling 1d6 and 2d4, then adding 1 to the total rolled. That's a weird way of lining that up. I mean, I would line that up as 1d6 plus 2d4 plus 1, or 2d4 plus 1d6 plus 1, so you have the smaller die first and then the larger die, but whatever. Next steps. Now you understand the basic premise of playing Call of Cthulhu. You can take on your first adventure, Alone Against the Flames, a horror story set in the 1920s where you are the main character and your choices determine the outcome. It is designed to lead you through the basic rules of the games in a gradual and entertaining fashion. Although most such adventures are played with your friends, this one is just for you. Oh, nice. Thank you. Don't worry. Don't worry that there may still be things you don't fully understand yet. The rules are explained as you play through the game. I like that. That's a great way of doing it. At least I think so. Because if you get all the rules at once, right before you start, it's basically like, then you sit there and be like half an hour in, and you're like, but what do I do now? Like, most people cannot contain that amount of knowledge at the same time. Besides, why do you need to know what a level 10 character is doing when your character starts at level 1? That's, I mean, yes, knowing something like what you'd want to progress towards is nice, but those rules are otherwise completely irrelevant for you in that situation as a level 1 character. Okay. It is designed to lead you through the basic rules of the game, yep. Although most such adventures are played with your friends, yes. Don't worry, you'll even be shown how to create your own character. Ooh, that was going to be my next question, because, like, sort of didn't see it here. Before you begin to play, make sure you have Book 2 nearby. Well, about that. I'm sure it will be... Well, hopefully I will see what's happening. You don't need to read Book 2 before you start to play. Okay, good. You'll also require one of the blank investigator sheets from the box. You'll also need pencil and some notepaper. No, I don't, because that's what a virtual tabletop simulator is for. Read on and follow the instructions starting with section 1. Okay, once you have completed the adventure, perhaps surviving or not, you can then read Book 2. Okay, so Book 2 is not included in this. I don't think so. Before then, settle in a comfortable chair, I got my office chair, and prepare to be alone against the flames. Okay, let's close that down for the moment and go to 1. Ooh. Oh, so it's like one of those books, like Swords and Sorcery. Ooh, likey. So, does this presume that I have a character already? Because I don't at the moment. I mean, I know there's a character here, but this is also because that I am currently in GM mode. And I think that is the right choice, as player mode I don't think would work for this. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think this it is meant to be played in GM mode. Okay. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here, in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends here have come to see you off. You're all alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it'll be a new life, and a brave one. A small grey motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks at you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He's a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem, yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for OCP. From there you will connect to Rochester, Port and Portsmouth before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least for some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The bus driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw. Then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack is up there. Look at your investigator sheet. Do I have a... Is that this one? No, that is basically the... so that's the description of the box. So do I have to, like... let's see, is it down here? There's a lot of chapters here. Player art handout. That's not what I'd need. Okay, I think this introduction will suffice as chapter 1, basically the introduction to it. I will make the character next time to see how that goes. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to play this because, like, yeah, I've been looking to try this out, and this seems like the perfect opportunity. So until next time, bye.